Muchísimas gracias, Laura. Miren, la semana que viene, el primer Major del año va a ser jugado y yo creo que el mundo del golf, y hablo de verdad, todo el mundo quiere ver qué va a pasar en el Masters, con esta expectativa de lo que ha pasado con Tiger, que es el hombre al que hay que seguir, porque está en un chasing, ¿verdad? En una búsqueda de empatar ese gran récord que tiene y ostenta el jugador más grande de todos los tiempos. Hace 2 semanas estuvimos en la página una encuesta que versaba sobre quién es el mejor jugador de todos los tiempos. Y bueno, salía Tiger. Al final ganó Nicklaus y yo lo apoyo, aunque yo creo que en mi página del listín lo dije. Jack Nicklaus me ha dicho a mí 3 veces que para él el mejor jugador de la historia es Tiger. Sin embargo, mucha gente lo que sella, ¿verdad? El mejor equipo, por ejemplo los Yankees que tienen tantos triunfos, ese es el mejor equipo porque ha ganado más veces lo que se disputa. En el caso del golf, él tiene 18 majors, Tiger tiene 14. Este año vamos a ver lo que pasa con Tiger, con el asunto del disco que tiene inflamado en la espalda y con los hilly, ¿verdad? Con lo empinado que es Augusta. Vamos a ver lo que pasa. Pero un artífice de todo esto, que era el dueño de la tierra donde está el Augusta National, que es Bobby Jones, a la postre se convirtió en mejor jugador de todos los tiempos, en el único amateur que de verdad ha sido el amateur como abanderado, ¿verdad? Todo el mundo lo mira porque nunca se declaró profesional. Yo entiendo que en su momento Bobby Jones tomó la decisión de no hacerse profesional porque no tenía la necesidad. No hay necesidad, si tú eres un tipo que tienes dinero, que tu familia tiene dinero, que tú no tienes que perseguir un sueño, sino el sueño que tú tienes ahí mismo. Y miren cómo lo proyectó. 112 años cumpliera Bobby Jones si estuviera vivo. Y en este momento vamos a hacer un homenaje a ese grande del golf que fue Bobby Jones, que ese swing dulce, esa forma de manejar lo que fue Augusta National, que él nunca en la vida se hubiera imaginado, porque murió muy joven, que Augusta se iba a convertir como en la catedral del golf, en que todo el mundo iba a querer, algún día querer ir a Augusta, y que el club se iba a convertir en lo que hoy día es. Así que vamos a ver este video que tenemos preparado para todos ustedes, gracias al PGA Tour, acerca de la vida de ese gran hombre que fue Bobby Jones. Veamos.
My name is Rand Jarris. I'm the director of the United States Golf Association Museum. Athletes in America first really became famous as individuals. They became our national heroes. And you look in other sports, it's the era of Babe Ruth, it's the era of Bill Tilden. And of course in golf, it's the era of Bob Jones.
My name is Bob Jones IV. I'm the grandson of legendary golfer Bobby Jones, the only man to win golf's Grand Slam, all 4 national championships in the same year. He also suffered from syringomyelia. Syringomyelia is a genetic condition, but it also can be acquired through a traumatic injury, as it was in my grandfather's case. He woke up one morning with a crick in his neck, which he ascribed to sleeping with the windows open. Later, in the next couple of years, he started developing other signs like tingling in his fingertips and tingling in his toes, but again, it wasn't anything that really caught his eye. When he was finally diagnosed in 1946, it was determined to be syringomyelia and probably traumatically induced. My grandfather was born on St. Patrick's Day, 1902, in Atlanta, Georgia. My grandfather picked up golf almost accidentally, banging balls up and down a 40-yard course in the front of his house. Later, a remarkable thing happened at Eastlake. The Atlanta Athletic Club, which was the actual parent club of Eastlake, hired a new golf professional named Stuart Maiden. My grandfather started simply by following Stuart around the golf course and mimicking his swing. He began playing competitively as a very young boy, probably no more than 6 or 7 years old, maybe 8. Mrs. Frank Metter, who ran a boarding house right by Eastlake, had a little informal 6-hole match on the Eastlake course, which consisted of my grandfather, Perry Adair, Frank Metter, and Alexa Sterling. At the end of the tournament, Mrs. Metter awarded my grandfather the trophy for the lowest score. To his dying day, however, he always said that he believed that Alexa Sterling actually won the cup, but that Mrs. Metter wouldn't give it to her because she was a woman. More interestingly, my grandfather never gave the cup to Alexa, even though he felt she should have it. And then, in 1916, when he was 14 years old, by this time he had been the club champ of the athletic club, Eastlake. He had also been the club champion of the Druid Hills Golf Club. And then in 1916, several folks thought that it might be a good thing for my grandfather to go with his friend Perry Adair to Pennsylvania, to the National Amateur Championship. And he basically electrified the field by leading the entire field in qualifying after the first round. In 1923, he won the U.S. Open in Inwood, and then went on between 1923 and 1930 to win 13 national championships, including 5 United States Amateurs, 4 United States Opens. My grandfather never did turn professional. He remained an amateur throughout his entire playing career because, as he said, he never wanted golf to be more than a game. Starting in about 1944, 1945, he started noticing some pretty major changes. He noticed, for example, that when hot water would be running in the sink, that he would scald his hands and not feel it. He noticed that one of his feet would start turning under a little bit, and he would start tripping and stumbling and not really know the reason why. So he went to see his doctor, and they could not figure out what was even possibly wrong with him. Years after my grandfather was diagnosed with syringomyelia, he didn't let the condition keep him down, and insofar as possible he maintained his interest in golf and in all the other activities that were a part of his life. And what he lived with from that time in 1945 until his death in 1971 was a constant headache. He said, "This is a bad situation, and it isn't going to get any better." But he said, "You know, in golf, we play the ball where it lies, and we don't complain. And now we'll never speak of this again." The greatest honor, though, came while he was still living, when he went over to St. Andrews for the World Team Championships in 1958. When he got there, he found that he was to receive what was called the Freedom of the City. And at first, he thought that this was nothing more than getting the key to the city. But on arriving, he learned it was much more than that. Because to receive the freedom of the city of St. Andrews meant that they were accepting him as one of their own. They were giving him the right to be a citizen of that wonderful city. And they had only honored one other American with that same title, and that was Benjamin Franklin in the 18th century. And when my grandfather stood up before the San Andreans, he had leapt to his feet, his legs in braces, but he didn't even need his canes. He said, "I could take out of my life every experience but those here at St. Andrews, and I would still have a rich, full life." My grandfather's life is hard to summarize, but if there's one person who was able to do it, it was the late Herbert Warren Wind. He wrote what I think are some of the most powerful words about him. Herb said, "As a young man, Bob Jones was able to stand up to just about the best that life can offer, which is not easy. And later he stood up with equal grace to just about the worst."
Nos vamos del tercer segmento, pero cuando regresemos en la parte final tenemos más de Bobillón y también la cobertura completa de lo que fue el torneo por una sonrisa. Y naturalmente, hace mucho que nos están pidiendo lo que es el figureo del golf, que lo vamos a tener en el próximo segmento. Por lo tanto, usted no debe moverse, cuidado con el control, que regresamos en unos segundos.